from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who said, Nuh alayhi salam, he said to his son when he was about to die, I command you with La ilaha illallah, for indeed the 7 heavens and the 7 earths, if they were placed upon one side of a scale, one cup of a scale, and La ilaha illallah was placed in the other, then La ilaha illallah would overwhelm them. And this hadith is reported by Imam Ahmad, Al-Hakim, Al-Bukhari in Al-Adab Al-Mufrad, and it is declared Sahih by Shaykh Al-Albani rahimahullah ta'ala. So in this hadith there are a number of benefits then. First of all, again, the point that relates to our topic, which is the excellence of La ilaha illallah, the fadl, the virtue, and that there is nothing which equals La ilaha illallah in the mizan, similar to what we saw in the previous hadith. Secondly, is that this is the best legacy, the best advice by which offspring, children, can be advised with at the point of death. We see this in fact is the way of the prophets. So in this hadith, authentic hadith, we see Nuh alayhi salam advising his son with La ilaha illallah, meaning with knowledge of its meaning and actualizing its meaning in one's speech, in one's deeds. We see that Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ya'qub alayhi salam, they both gave this advice as well to the offspring. And we see in the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jalla, He says, وَوَصَّى بِهَا إِبْرَاهِيمُ بَنِيهِ وَيَعْقُوبُ يَا بَنِيَّ إِنَّ اللَّهَ اسْتَفَى لَكُمُ الدِّينَ فَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. That Ibrahim and Ya'qub, that Ibrahim gave advice to his offspring, and likewise Ya'qub, saying, O my children, indeed Allah has chosen you. Allah has chosen for you the deen. So do not die except whilst you are Muslims. Except while you are Muslims. Surah Al-Baqarah 2 verse 132. And likewise Ibrahim alayhi salam, he made this kalima to be something that will remain in his offspring. وَجَعَلَهَا كَلِمَةً بَاقِيَةً فِي عَقِبِهِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. That he made this to be a word that remains, like as a legacy amongst his offspring, in order that they may return. Surah Al-Zukhruf 43 verse number 28. So this is the way of the prophets and messengers, and it is the best that a person can give advice to his offspring at the point of death, as the approach of death. Also from the benefits that we take from this hadith is clearly that the deen of all of the prophets is one and the same. And it is Islam. And Islam here, it means tahqiq la ilaha illallah. It means to actualize La ilaha illallah. This is the meaning of the Islam that all the prophets and messengers that they call to. Likewise, from the benefits that we take from this again, like the previous hadith, is the mention of the mizan once again, and its scales of measurement, the 2 scales, the 2 sides. And also from that is, like the previous hadith, a mention that the earths are 7 in number, just like the heavens are 7 in number. So these earths, and al-ardeen sab', that the earths are 7. From all of this we see, and this has come up frequently in the previous hadith and some other hadith as well, that this is knowledge that Allah Azza wa Jal has mentioned to us in the Quran, and the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam has mentioned to us in the Sunnah. And this ilm of the heavens being 7 and the earths being 7, this is ilm which is yaqini. It is certain knowledge. There is no shak in this knowledge. And when we see that which we see the disbelievers and the atheists among them, this is the great and tremendous issue in our times. We see that before this time, in the centuries before, and in fact in the whole of history, as the scholars always mention, Ibn al-Qayyim, Ibn Taymiyyah, that no one in history ever denied a creator. Not even Fir'aun, and not even the greatest tyrants. They knew inwardly that there is a creator. Fir'aun, he was convinced that there is a Lord. He was just arrogant, purely arrogant. Nimrod, against whom Ibrahim al-Islam argued, and he confounded him in argument when he told him that Allah brings the sun from the east, then you bring it from the west. And he was confounded, he couldn't. And this, showed his incapability, and he does not possess rububiyyah, despite his claim that he can cause people to die and cause people to live. So he was confounded, he was arrogant. So these people, they actually knew the truth. They knew the truth. Inwardly, they knew Allah's rububiyyah. So before this time, never ever has this really been the case where a large number of people, they are openly challenging the rububiyyah of Allah Azza wa Jal. Meaning deny that there is a creator, denying that they have a Lord, denying that they are in receipt of favors and bounties and all of these delights that they enjoy on a daily basis, denying that all of this comes from a masterful, skillful creator. So before this, there was never anything like this. And the reason why this has come about is that these people who are misguiding people into believing into this atheism and so on and so forth, we take lessons from the stories of the prophets of the past. We see with Fir'aun, he employed magicians in order to deceive the people and to trick the people and to perform sihr. وَسَحَرُوا أَعْيَنُ النَّاسِ, to perform sihr upon the eyes of the people, to make them see things which are not even real, to make them to bewitch their eyes, or to make them see things which are not really real, to use tricks and deception, whether that involves the jinn on occasions, or whether it is just simply the deception and the trickery of the of whatever means are available, whatever means, mechanisms, ways are available. And in our time, the means and mechanisms that these people are using is technology. It is technology. They are using technology in order to pretend and to defraud the people and to make them believe that there are multiple multiple earths, not in this sense, what in the sense of what is in the Quran, but in the sense that there are other beings and there is other life and there are millions of suns and millions of planets, and someday we'll be able to go out there and reach there. And all of these ideas, they are not new ideas. These ideas, when you go back to the old mystery religions, the mushriks of old, you see amongst them they used to have the same ideas, that there are spirits inside the stars, there are other beings, and one day as we illuminate in knowledge, we increase in knowledge, we will one day be able to reach the stars. You will find these ideas amongst the mushriks of old, amongst those who were into astrology. And this was their shirk. This was the reasoning behind their shirk. And so all these people have done today, these people who are behind pushing this atheism, they are the same old mushrikun, the same old type of people upon the same religion. They say the same thing. It's identical. They are saying that there is alien life, life is accidental, there are, and one day we'll be able to reach the stars, we shall become eternal, we'll know how to live forever, and we'll know how to create ourselves. Same ideas. So what they are doing is they are simply using technology as a means of deceiving the eyes of the people. That's all they're doing. So everything you see about space travel and going to the moon and going to the Mars and all this nonsense, all of this is kadhib. It is a lie. It's an absolute lie. And our scholars, there many decades ago, Sheikh al-Tuwajiri, I believe, he wrote a book on astronomy, and in there he refutes the claims that the Russians, sent like a satellite to the moon and things like that. And he has an elaborate refutation of all of this, and our scholars are correct in this. It has now become clear, evidently, and the evidence is clearly established, and they are making admissions that it is impossible to leave the earth. You cannot leave the earth. No man has been more has been higher than about 50 to 60 kilometers. You cannot go any higher than that. It's impossible. And so, it's just not possible for you to go beyond that point. So everything else that you see that they are telling you about going to Mars and going to this, all of this is just, it's CGI. It's the sihr of the eyes, using technology. And everything that you see when they're in the so-called space station, all of that, what they have is, like you have Photoshop for images. When you have Photoshop, it's like all based upon layers, right? So you create layers, and you have a canvas, you have a background, and you put something else in. So basically it works on layers. They now have technology whereby in real time you can do the same with video, right? So you can have a video feed which is on one layer, just like you do with images. Then on other layers of the thing, you can inject things. You can inject things in real time. You can find this. It's all out there. It's nothing hidden. It's all out there. So what they do is, when you see the things apparently floating and moving around, that's injected into the actual, the image. Right? And then they also use like strings and all sorts and to fake, This is how they're doing it. Because, as we said, it is impossible for a person to go beyond a certain point, and rockets cannot work in a vacuum. So what they've done is, they've put a lot of these lies and they've embedded them into the science from many, many decades ago. So all of this, we should have yaqeen in the speech of our Lord, in the speech of Allah Azza wa Jal, about the heavens, about the earth, and whatever else that we find. And we should not be deceived by these people, because what they are doing is the same as the magicians of Fir'aun. They're using technology to bamboozle people. They're using this, what they call fake reality. What they're doing is the so-called thing to do with the Mars mission. They've able to now create holograms, right? You can go and find, you can see it online, where there'll be a man sitting here, he'll be wearing goggles, and there'll be another man in another building, and they'll have a screen, and on a screen they're projecting an image of a Mars landscape, and whatever that man is doing in the other building, it's being projected onto that landscape, and that man with the goggles can actually see it, and it's projected onto a screen, right? And you cannot tell the difference. It's totally real. You can't tell the difference, but it's projected on a screen. So through this, you can make it appear that something is taking place when it's not, right? So one man is in three places at the same time. There's a man in the building over there he's wired up and he's walking around. Then he's projected on the screen as well, and at the same time he's allegedly in Mars, right? So all of this simulation, the technology is there where it would be indistinguishable from an actual recording of an actual event. It's indistinguishable. You cannot tell with the eyes. You can't tell, right? So through this, they are deceiving people into believing their fairy tales and their fabrications and their conjectures to do with the creation, with what to us is the creation. This is their way of denying, arrogant denial. They know that they are misleading mankind. They know that. The people who know at the top, they know that they are misguiding mankind. They are misleading mankind. So we mention this because these are issues which confuse a lot of Muslims, because because of the certainty with which these ideas are presented in the media, in schools, in popular science reporting, and so on and so forth, and it confuses a lot of Muslims, and they think, well, and so what happens is then that some Muslims try to reconcile between the two, because they think that this must be right. This must be right. Men are able to travel in space, and so you can go into low Earth orbit. You can't go beyond that, right? So this is why someone might say, well, how come people have gone to space and astronaut? That's true. You can go into low Earth orbit, which is probably 30, 40 kilometers, no more than that. And so you go above the Earth's atmosphere. You can see the darkness of the sky. You can see all that, and then, you feel that you are in space. But you cannot go beyond that. No, you can't go anywhere higher than that. So yes, you can go into low Earth orbit, but you cannot go beyond that. So, and this is what our scholars say. They say that as for the claim that you will inhabit the moon and you will go here, all of this is kadhib. And it's not possible to leave the earth. And one of the evidences they use is the ayat in the Quran which say, مِنْهَا خَلَقَنَاكُمْ وَفِيهَا نُعِيدُكُمْ وَمِنْهَا نُخْرِجُكُمْ تَارَةً أُخْرَى. From it we created you, to it shall we return you, and from it shall we return you once more. No person can die upon other than the earth. Right? This is a proof against their so-called space travel and inhabiting other planets and so on and so forth. So all of these are fairy stories, they are not true. They are fairy stories, they are not true. So keep that in mind. So we have like the deceivers at the top, and then we have the average people who just believe what they are told, and they don't really reflect and think about what these people are doing or saying, and then they try to combine between
What was the reference of that?
this ayah. That one I quoted was in Surah Taha, I believe. And you find it in Surah Nuh as well, something similar. In Surah Nuh. We move